Welcome everyone to another installment of 10 Years, 10 Stories, which is me looking back over the last 10 years of my business as I celebrate my 10th business birthday and just having a chat to some of the people who have influenced my journey. I'm thrilled today that my wonderful virtual assistant, Chloe Bright, has come to join me and have a chat. Her business is called Strategy and Soul. And she's been supporting me now for 5 years in my business. And Chloe is a wonderful supporter of women in service-based businesses who are looking to be able to put some time back into their business by outsourcing some marketing tasks, some admin tasks, and just getting some general support. And Chloe's been an amazing supporter of my business since I've been working with her. So welcome, Chloe. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited for today.
I'm really excited to chat to you as well because you, I know, will have some insights about me that others simply will not because of the way that we work together. And part of the goal of these interviews is for people to get to know me and the type of work that I do better. But before we get onto that, I'd love to hear the story of how you got into your business.
That's a really good question. I started my business about 5 years ago now. And you were actually one of the first clients that I had, which was a very exciting time. And it's really amazing to have seen the way that you've evolved over the last 5 years, which I'm sure we'll get more into. But I started my business out of need, I guess. I had a really terrible time in the corporate world and was really struggling in my role. So not from I feel like I was doing really well from a output and productivity point of view, getting good results, but I just felt like I was climbing the walls a bit in my role. Like I had a lot of spare time that was expected to be filled with more work, but the work wasn't there. So I started having some problems. I figured out it wasn't something that I wanted to do. So I thought at the time I'd previously done some temp work for an agency and I saw sort of a little bit into how that worked. They would obviously, I was the product, they would sell me as an employee to the person that wanted to hire me for a temp role. And then I figured out there was like buffer between what they paid me versus what the business was paying me. So I thought in my naivety and youth, I thought, oh, I could probably do that myself. I could find my own clients instead of working for an agency that was then selling me, I guess, to a business. So because I was having a hard time in my corporate job, quit my job pretty much on a whim, had to give 30 days notice and had to kind of make it happen. So I went from, handing in my resignation to like figuring out, all right, by the time I finish my job, I need one client and depending on how much that was income wise, I would need to find another client within I think it was about 2 weeks after I found that initial client. So my business very much started like that. I got that first initial client and then a couple of weeks later, I got my next client. A couple of weeks later, I got my next client. And I kind of had, I think, maybe 3 or 4 clients under my belt before you came on board, Amy, in October of that year. And that was the first time that I really saw marketing work for me personally in my business. Because we started working together because I filmed a video I had a tiny little desk set up in the corner of my bedroom. And I filmed a video going, hey, I'm Chloe. This is what I'm doing now. I'm a virtual assistant. These are the sorts of clients that I want to work with. If that's you, please send me a message. And you did. And it was really cool experience and such a good confidence boost because I think you were the first person that I personally didn't know that kind of came on board as a client. I either had friends up until that point or like a friend of a friend, but you were the first person who became a client of mine from the actual marketing and putting that video out there. So yeah, that's how it started.
It is always exciting when that happens. And even now as a really seasoned marketer, when you put a piece of content out or you do a piece of marketing and it connects you with someone that you didn't know before, it still is just as exciting as the first time it happens. At least it certainly is for me. And I love as well that you used the word naive because so that takes me on a flashback basically because this is not my first business as back in what feels like completely past life. my degree is actually film and television production, and I had a film and television production company for 4 years from when I was about 22 to when I was about 27 or thereabout. And I had a business partner, and we also went naively into business, not knowing what to expect, not really knowing what we were doing, just being gritty and getting on with it and finding new clients and just trying lots of new things. And when I think back to that time, I don't think I would have started my first business if I'd known the things that I knew by the time I exited that business to go and do something else. So I think you have to have a bit of naivety to go into business, because if you knew all the ins and outs of it, you may not do it.
I
And some things you
I
can't
actually
learn by
say that.
doing.
I say that all the time. I look back now and I talk about being naive at the start, and I go, that was actually one of the best skills that I could have had, because I think that I took more risks. Was more
Yes.
optimistic with what I thought the outcomes were going to be. It propelled me forward faster than probably any other skill that I've developed over the years in business. So yeah, I think it's such a powerful skill. I think it's often looked at in a negative light, but I think it's actually a really positive thing. And I almost wish I could go back and bottle that, because I have a lot less naivety now, and I kind of wish I had that naivety still.
What I think you bring with you if you go into that business, in your first business, with that bit of naivety, what you learn is perhaps you wouldn't necessarily be considered as naive anymore, but that naivety, it has a metamorphosis into something else. So it metamorphoses you into being really quite resilient and being aware that that there's a lot that you don't know. So that, and being willing to show up and learn and take some risks. So even though we're not naive business owners anymore, there's definitely things that have evolved into that now are absolutely key skills in running a successful business, in my view, like being able to make mistakes and learn from them and evolve again ahead of them. And the optimism, which is, it's really interesting because this has actually come up in another interview that I had today about the optimism you need to have in business. And yeah, I reckon that's maybe what naivety morphs into. If you come in with naivety, you have an optimism. And if you can hold on to that optimism through the challenges, that's what leads to having a successful, resilient business. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I've definitely had some challenges in business over the years, and it's it is from those challenges that I learn the most. So obviously hindsight's a beautiful thing, and you look back
Yes.
and you learn so much from these challenges. At the time, it can feel like it's a lot going through them and trying to work your way through them and learn through them and trying to stay optimistic through them and keep that mindset in check.
Yeah.
I think is one of the most important things. And yeah, over time that can turn into confidence. And with hindsight, we learn so much. And it's often during the hardest times and the biggest challenges that we learn the most and we're able to grow the most. So yeah, it's wonderful that naivety can turn into like such wisdom and confidence. And we just need to keep our heads on straight and keep that optimism and keep our mindsets in check, because that's ultimately what makes or breaks our business. And I think that's something you've done beautifully well over the years, is kept that optimism going. Like no matter how challenging it gets, I've noticed that you take it in your stride, and you might need a minute to kind of take a breath and figure out how to work through whatever it is that you're working through. But ultimately, you always have like such a fantastic attitude towards those challenges. So it's been very inspiring working alongside you while you've taken so many things in your stride, and you wouldn't be here 10 years later if you didn't have such an amazing attitude like that. So yeah, I
Oh, thank you
applaud you
so
for
much
that.
for saying that. And like, you have been a really massive part of helping me to do that and helping me to keep my mindset over the last 5 years in my business, because I have come up against some really interesting challenges. And some of the things that have been super valuable in the work that you and I have done together is that we've also been able to evolve like our relationship and the type of work that you do for me and how we work together. But the way you've helped me establish some systems in my business and also help me achieve some really massive goals of projects that bubbled along there forever and ever, that had perhaps a few false starts along the way. And to now be sitting here today, having worked with you and having realized those projects and be delivering my online version of the brand story strategy in a group workshop, and to have, you've kept me accountable, which I think has been really great. And having that person that I can come into, we catch up once a week now, which I absolutely love, because it helps me set my intentions for the week ahead with someone who really understands my business and really understand, has taken the time to really understand me, because I'm a very creative and also very strategic person, and I can swing one way and the other, and you don't really necessarily know what you're going to get with me when you turn up to your weekly meeting, do you? It's like, oh, I wonder which theme I'm going to get today.
I think that I've grown to love that so much about you and the way that you approach things, though, because that you're kind of right. You never know what you're going to get, but I think there are very few people that are able to master the creativity, but also the strategic side of business. And I love that you're able to see both of those and swing one way or the other depending on the situation, because I think that, like, that's an incredible skill to have. And I think I was just reflecting this morning on this interview and our experience together over the last 5 years. And I think that ultimately you've held that vision. Like, even if it's taking you a little bit longer to get to some of these goals and achieve the things that you've wanted to achieve, you've held that vision and been so strong and so set in your vision and what you're looking to create. And so not worried about, I guess, how long it's going to take, just focused in on your vision. That's the thing that matters. The time doesn't matter. Nothing else matters except taking those steps, step by step, to get to that vision. And now I feel like we're in a really exciting time, because we've done things like launch the brand story strategy workshop for the third time, and seeing some of those projects come to life. From I remember us talking about it back when we first started working
Yes.
together, and you were like, this is what I want to do. And it's taken some time, but 5 years later to have launched your third round, and for it to be going so successfully, and for people to just be getting these incredible outcomes that I didn't have a doubt that they would get them, but even they have been blowing my mind with how incredible their results have been through the program. So it's been really amazing. And I can't wait to keep working on your vision and keep seeing it unfold in the future as well. But yeah, you've made incredible progress, and you've been incredibly consistent over the 5 years of us working together, and never once have you wavered on your vision. You've gone, this is what I'm creating, and I'm going to make it happen no matter what. And you do it with such heart as well.
Thank you.
I know that heart content is the name of the business, and like, it's one of your values, but you really do. You have such integrity with what you teach and what you do for people, and you have such consistency with getting there, and you do it with so much heart. And all that matters at the end of the day, throughout the whole 5 years that I've known you, all that matters is the people that you're working with and getting them the results that they want to get in their business. And that's a theme that's carried through everything that you've picked up over the last 5 years. And I'm sure before that as well, before the new year.
Oh, thank you so much, because it's something that is important to me. I value connection, and the goal is to connect my clients with their ideal clients so that they can create the change and have the impact that they want to have in the world. And so it means a lot to me that you understand my vision and what I'm trying to achieve and how it's all coming together. Because there has been some delays and some false starts on things, but I think that's a little bit a part of business. And certainly for me, being a woman in business and having a young family, and there are challenges that pop up all the time, and solving problems and staying strong and resilient and trying to be optimistic even when it gets hard are all part of the journey, I think, in all businesses. You don't last 10 years, you don't even last 5 years in business if you don't have some of those core qualities and enjoy solving problems. I think that's part of it.
Yeah. I can tell how much you love that. And even when it is challenging, and maybe things are challenging to a point that they start to get you down a little bit, you're so tenacious in that you're going to solve this problem and you're going to get through it and we're going to keep moving forward with it. I think it's easy in business to let challenges sometimes slow us down or stop us from moving forward, but I've really been impressed with how much you take it in your stride, and it's just part of your next step, and you solve problems so gracefully. And
thank you.
yeah,
What a lovely thing to say.
I wholeheartedly believe it. I've been thinking about this a little bit lately, just with this project come up and reminiscing over the last few years. It's pretty incredible to see. It's very inspiring to watch, and you're definitely a source of inspiration for me in my business now as well.
Oh, thank you. And you for me, I think I feel so lucky to have you in my corner as someone that I can trust and share all the parts of my business with, the hard parts, the good parts. And one of the things that's been super valuable during our working relationship together is like how well you listen. I'm one of those people that sometimes has to talk through something to be able to find a way out the other side, and to have somebody who is willing to listen to me and let me solve the problem live, either in our weekly calls or in our strategy sessions, which have just been so amazing for my business, for us to get in a room together and be able to plan out what's coming up next and look ahead and get creative, and also forcing me to reflect on the things that we've achieved in the last quarter, and also go, okay, well, we didn't maybe achieve these things, but how can we improve for that next time? Or how can we solve for that? Or what went wrong? Was it just things got in the way, or do we need a different system? And how you've been able to evolve with me as my business has evolved has just been incredibly powerful for me and for my business. So I'm so excited to have you in my corner. It's just, you're a fabulous VA, and I couldn't do a lot of the things that I do without you, quite simply.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. I would love to know what has been one of your favorite things that we've worked on together during our time.
I know that it's recent, but I really loved the process of getting the brand story strategy workshop up and happening. Like, it's always, I love working with you so much, so it's hard to narrow it down, but just taking that from idea and like early days of the idea and talking about it to not getting to work on it for a little while because we had some other things that we're working on, to then starting to work on that and launching it for the first time and seeing it kind of spread its wings and become its own thing, and see all your hard work and passion go into it. And then to now be on like launching the second time and then launching the third time and seeing it grow and seeing how like your genius have come out of how can we take this thing that we've run once and turn it into like the next round and make it even better so people get even better transformations, and how can we market it better next time so that more people see it and get it out there. And all of that whole process has been incredible, and seeing you really go from Amy, who is an incredible brand story strategist and copywriter and marketing specialist, to stepping into, all right, now I'm really here to teach you. And I know that you were kind of teaching the whole way through, but I'm here teaching you, showing you that step by step how to do this process and how it all works together and how much of an impact it's going to have on your business, and really working with your clients, doing the program, who getting you, by you getting to connect with them and teach them what you're teaching them, they're then getting to connect with their ideal clients and they get to teach them what they have to offer. And it's pretty incredible, especially at a time where economically it's not being great. And I think it's more and more important these days to be so clear on your vision, your brand, how you're actually connecting with your customers is more important than ever, with all the noise online, the economy being a bit slow, all that sort of stuff. So I really think that you're saving people's businesses by teaching them these skills through the brand story strategy workshop. And a lot of businesses that are doing well and do even better from it as well. But it really, the work that you do and your teaching has the potential to really save someone's business if they're going through a hard time. And I think that's so powerful. And that's what I got into business to be a part of, is to to support, but me supporting you, it means I'm supporting your clients too, and you working with your clients to be able to work with their clients even better. And it's kind of a little bit meta, but it's
No, but
really
I think
cool.
it's
It's
so,
really
I think
rewarding.
it is. And I think it's so great because, and that's why you and I have such a great alignment. And that's why I work best with businesses that are trying to have an impact. And we forget that impact can actually be found in the smallest of places, in the smallest of actions, in the smallest of visions. That it doesn't have to be a groundbreaking, world shifting vision to have an impact on somebody's life, on somebody's income, on how somebody sees themselves in the world, and to be able to create those connections and have those impacts. I've been reflecting too on what is it that I really want to be doing? What is the big change that I want to make? And for me, it is about helping businesses who want to have an impact in whatever that impact is, big or small, helping them find a way to have that impact. So helping them find the people who need that change, and connecting in with them so that they can create the impact that they're trying to create in their part of the world, and sometimes it's in a backyard, not in a suburb or not in a city or not globally. It's about those small ripples, those little things that we can do that actually can have a significant impact on a fellow human being. And I just think it's so important. I'm
Yeah.
super keen to know, because you work with lots of different businesses, not just mine, but I am really interested in knowing what you're seeing as a trend for the future of small and medium sized businesses. What is showing up for you that you think, because we've looked back into the past, and now I want us to sort of look into the future. What do you think is going to be the next big thing, or the trend that you're seeing in business for the next?
I think that people are really starting to understand business on a deeper level. Like, I think we've seen a lot of people jump into the business space through things like COVID and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of businesses grew really quickly and have had quite a lot of success. But I think what we're going to see, and we're starting to see a bit of a shift, is people are realizing that they need to go deeper, and they need to hone in on those skills that are the most important things when it comes to business. And that is your relationship with your customers. And how can we actually extend that into the marketing as well? How can we connect on the level of, our clients, but also connect on the level of our marketing, and branding comes into that massively. Like, who are you and what are you about as a business? And how does that connect to your customers? I think as we as we go deeper and deeper into the world of like social media, for example, a lot of businesses are using their social media as their marketing strategy. There's a lot of noise out there. So how can you stand out from the crowd? How can you make sure your branding aligns with your customer? How can you, all the things that, and I don't mean to do this, is that you teach in the brand story strategy workshop, but I really think that doubling down on branding and doubling down on the relationship with your customers. And I think that reflecting on your journey over the last 10 years, Amy, I think that a big reason why you're still here is you haven't focused on speed. You've focused on that connection with your customers, those little moments, those little opportunities along the way that really show your customers that you care and give them what they need to get great results. I think we're going to see people doubling down on that. I think we're going to see the businesses that are really successful double down on their branding and their values and what they're about, their vision and their mission. And I think we're also going to see a movement into, how can I do this easier as a business owner? How can I maybe bring in some automation to my business or systemize things a bit better so that I can reach more people and spend less time on the admin stuff and more time on actually working with clients or coaching with clients, or adding those little surprise and delight touches that are just going to blow your clients' minds away and create raving fans. I think that we're going to see more and more of that from the people that are going to be standout successful over the next year or few years. We're going to see them, move from a fast business model to more of a sustainable business model. And instead of moving fast or having all the bells and whistles from looking in from the outside, they're going to take that energy and move it towards their clients and customers. And I think that's really important to stand out, but also for the longevity of your business. Because I think over the last year or two, we've seen a lot of people burn out and decide that business is not for them, or not be able to connect with their customers or potential clients in the way that they would hope. Maybe haven't been as successful as they were hoping for. So I really think that getting good at the basics and diving deep into business and doing the basics well is going to be really important moving forward.
Yeah, that's such an amazing insight. And I do think that all of the interviews that I've done have touched in on that connection and being connected and human connection, and getting to understand and know your customer is that connection, whether you be communicating face to face or through your marketing or digitally or anywhere. So I 100% agree with all of that. I think you're absolutely right. And that brand is going to be more important than it has ever been before. And I'm a big believer in that brand is a critical element of business that we often leave out. We jump straight into marketing without thinking about how our business goals need to connect to our brand and how our brand needs to connect to our marketing to really have cut through. So it's an exciting time for brand and for business. I think that there's still lots of opportunity out there for people who, like you say, are doubling down on the right things, mainly on that connection. Chloe, this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for joining me.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun, and happy 10th birthday to your heart content brand.
Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see what you and I create next together as a key part of my team. So thank you for everything that you have brought into my business over the years that we've worked together.
Thank you. I'm excited too. It's going to be great.